We are all familiar with the mandala, the circle, that's said to be unifying us with God. I read that Jung drew a mandala every morning of his life to bring himself into balance. The symbol I'm going to talk about now is called the Mandorla. It also is said to have a healing effect, and it's, I don't think, very popular today, but it was in medieval times. It's when two circles partly overlap. The Mandorla actually means, the word Mandorla actually means almond in Italian. I know in German the word for almond is Mandel. In religious art, it is an almond-shaped aureole of light surrounding the entire figure of a holy person. It was used in Christian art, usually for the figure of Christ and Master Mary. Now, a mandorla is also found on the cover of the Chalice Well in Glastonbury, England, where the mythology says that Joseph of Arimathea came bringing the chalice with some drops of Christ's blood in it. And Glastonbury, England is a hugely dynamic place and very spiritual right now. And it's picture of the well shows the Mandorla. Known in medieval Christianity, the Mandorla is an almond-shaped segment made when two circles overlap. It symbolizes the overlap of heaven and earth and the coming together of our accepted side and our banished side, conscious and unconscious. It's said that the Mandorla begins the healing of the split. The Mandorla is thought to be the most ancient sacred symbol known to humankind, and it's said to have been engraved on the Ark of the Covenant. It's also a symbol of sacred geometry. It's been referred to as the gateway to the spirit world. It binds together that which was torn apart and made unholy. Johnson tells us, if you find a person who is particularly peaceful or has a healing presence, she has probably done her Mandorla work. He says, we are each torn by the competing demands of heaven and earth. We want to be good, and yet earth pulls us downward often. The Mandorla instructs us how to reconcile the two. He gives examples of the Mandorla in language and poetry, bringing together the two sides, making conflict resolution or healing. Music is said to be a Mandorla, doing the same with rhythm, form, and tone. An artist can make a Mandorla with form, color, and visual tension. If you Google Mandorla, you'll come to a site called Middle Earth something. I don't think I have the whole thing in my head, but it's a woman who teaches dance to heal the Mandorla. It's the person dances the loving, conscious side on one side, then goes across the room to the other side and dances the wicked, negative side. And in the middle is where the Mandorla is, to bring the two together and heal them. Some of you are familiar with the curanderos in South America. They're considered a cross between a shaman and a Catholic priest. They set up their altar or mesa for healing of their patients into three distinct parts. On the right, there's a statue of a saint, a flower, a talisman. On the left are weapons of destruction, knives, guns. In the center is the Mandorla, where they each touch and bring together the healing between. That is where the miracles happened. This is expressed in Matthew 6:22. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. You've seen movies of Christ's time when his followers would meet another person and they were trying to decide whether they were also followers. One would draw the top half of a circle in the sand. The other would draw the bottom bottom half representing a stylized fish, which represented Christ, showing they were both Christians, followers. Because Christ is the intersection between the human and the divine. He is our guide out of conflict and duality. Johnson tells us that to diminish the shadow that we impose on others, we need to do daily shadow work, to creatively work with the tension between the two sides to reconcile Earth's conflicts and dualities. The ideal is, at the end of life, the two circles will be completely together, so it will be one big circle. Richard and I spent some time in Glastonbury, England, many years ago, and as I mentioned, it's a beautiful place. And I bought this, which my necklace is a replica of the cover of the chalice well. It has the two circles, and they are overlapping with the Mandorla in the center. In England, there's a sword going through it, which is supposed to represent the Excalibur, the sword of King Arthur, who is said to be buried nearby in Glastonbury Abbey.